Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, boom, boom, boom!
What a mark.
I am your host. I am the Jason Jordan of this podcast, Damon Tidwell. The Chad Gable,
Yeah.
my Chad Gable. You know he's not here today. He had to work, so
Yeah,
highly know we miss you, bud.
Yeah, and we thought we had everything planned out for a second to get Sean in, and we set everything up, and Sean got stuck in traffic in California. So that's just really sucks because of the time difference. Sean couldn't get home. We thought we figured out everything, and then this happens. So we'll see if we can ever have Sean on here again. He is coming into town, so he should be back in the studio.
Which month is that? Are we allowed to say that? Are we
I have
allowed to divulge that information?
I'm not sure, but I don't remember either, so it's okay.
Okay. I'm not going to Memphis in May. I'm breaking the streak. So we're not going this year. It's usually the first weekend in May.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going. Just, I totally forgot about it. I've been so busy doing everything else but plan for that, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to go.
I hear you, man.
Plus, the last time I went on super short notice, like 2 years ago, I ended up racking up like $1,500 on travel and hotel expenses.
Oh, oh dude.
Like, I planned out 2 years ago to go down to Memphis about this time of the year.
Yeah.
So about 2 weeks out. Bad idea.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine. That's never fun. It's never fun to get a credit card bill in the mail after you're all done. And you're like, oh no, what did I do?
I had that one time in Cleveland with my brother. Our friend Javi just went down there for Javi's birthday in February of last year. And it was one of those in-between weekends getting paid. I'm like, shit, I already agreed to go. So I'm like, I've got enough credit. I'll just use my credit card to live off that. And I look at my credit card. It's like $450. Like, God damn it.
Yeah. But we're not talking. This isn't a credit card podcast. So we want to get rid of your debt, guys.
We're gonna hit your debt with that Anderson family spine buster.
Yeah, that's my spot. That's my gimmick as a manager.
Is that what Gallows and Anderson's gimmick is? Like credit collectors, debt collectors?
Yeah, the Usos had bad credit, so they had to take them out, man.
No, their dad had bad credit and he couldn't pay, so he had to come after their sons.
That's right, yeah.
So is Anderson's spine buster just going to be called the credit buster?
The credit buster, yeah. Yeah, oh man, we could just go on and on. You can have the credit score, and
it's not the magic killer anymore. It's the credit score, the team finisher.
Your APR,
15% APR.
Their biggest rival is David Ramsey, the guy who's always like, "I'm gonna break your debts down," and all he does is just talk about getting rid of your debt, and he's like, "Get rid of your credit cards." So he's going to come out and he's going to be in the Usos corner.
He is like Vince McMahon. I'm trying to think of like an analogy here. David Ramsey is to Vince McMahon as, Zack Ryder is to credit cards? Is that fair? Is that right? Does that make sense? Is that good? Does that work?
Yeah,
I haven't done
it.
any sort of literary work since like 2011 when I was still in school.
Oh, dude! When you just mentioned it, it brought me back to terrible flashbacks of the LSAT, the worst test you can ever take in your life that has nothing to do with law school at all. And they're just like, "Hey, we're gonna give you this. Something is to something, as something is to." And it's not going to be any of these four choices, but pick the best wrong choice. Like,
man, we're delving into worse millennials territory here.
Yeah, this is definitely a hybrid episode here. Well, we missed WrestleMania, our post-WrestleMania. You guys unfortunately had to hear just me ramble on for a bit. I was telling Damon off air, it was really tough to do that. And Damon did his, but he lost his episode.
Shoutouts to my iPhone.
But it's tough when you don't have someone that you can talk back and forth to, and maybe convinced you otherwise, you would think, okay, well, I thought I liked it because of this, or I hated it because of this, and then have you and Lino be like, well, there's this and this angle of it, and you're
Or
like,
this
oh yeah,
this is why this happened.
Yeah,
You can kind of
yeah.
explain, what kind of logic was going into some sort of booking decision.
right.
Which, I mean, while we're on the topic of booking decisions, I guess were we going to start it off with the Gallows and Anderson, or we're going to talk about Shane McMahon first?
Let's go with Shane McMahon, just
Okay,
because
since you're here.
it flows into our post-WrestleMania talks.
Okay, so you've got Shane McMahon versus Undertaker at WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell. Shane tries to kill himself basically to win the match in that crazy dive, and it'd be like doing a hair versus hair match, and if you lose, you get your head shaved. But he lost, and then he still got what he wanted anyway. It'd be like hair versus mask, and you lost the hair. You were the guy that had to lose his hair, and you lost, but the other guy still takes his mask off anyway.
Yep. Undertaker isn't on TV, and Shane's appearing, and they're like, all right,
yeah, he's running Raw. Like, Vince was just like, what the hell? Now, I'm cool with the idea of Shane McMahon running Raw because the Raw this past week was pretty good.
Yeah, man.
It's really good. And also, all the NXT call-ups, I guess, are being credited, kayfabe-wise anyway, to Shane McMahon. What I would have liked to seen, or liked to have seen, I gotta speak grammatically correct here, I would have liked to have seen Vince kind of go, well, you know what? Even though you lost and you're not supposed to get control of Raw, you tried to risk your own life because you wanted it that bad. Like, you're a true McMahon, like, basically kind of reluctantly put him over. And then he would have did the, what the hell, like, run the show after he kind of was like, you know what, like, you were willing to do that and you really are my son. I'm going to let you run Raw. Like, that would have made total sense. Like, I think the crowd would have got behind it. I mean, they got behind it anyway.
Oh, yeah. That's one sentence, though. But, like, see, that's one sentence you could have added in there, and it just makes perfect sense.
And it's kind of remarkable that a team of writers, like, no one's like, hey, maybe we should just add that in there real quick to make it make more sense. But
I would like to hope that they did. And then Vince was like, no, the fans will get it. They'll get it. I don't need to do it. Because that's exactly what it seemed like. Like, we were missing Vince's inner monologue when he's sitting there. He's like, you fans are crazy. All right, what the hell? You run Raw. It was like just the perfect moment. It'd be like, you guys are crazy. My son's crazy. This is a perfect night. He sacrificed himself. I doesn't necessarily have to give him a big old hug and, boy named Suet, but...
Or alternatively, have maybe Vince kind of berating Shane, and Undertaker comes down and is basically like, Shane McMahon left it all in the ring. He has my respect. You need to make him run Raw, or like that's like curtains for you. Like basically threaten, Vince, and
also
to do it.
It plays off on the Vince calling him a bitch, and Undertaker be like, "No, you're my bitch."
Plus, it also plays off the end of the match where Shane throughout the match kept doing like the Bruce Lee bring it on thing, and at the end after he fell off the cell and Undertaker's getting ready to finish him off, he looks up at him and does the come on thing, and Undertaker does the classic Undertaker, like, I like you, but I'm going to kill you now move. Where he does the pat on the face. He did that to Jeff Hardy, Shane McMahon. I think he did it to young Randy Orton, too, on SmackDown. He defended the title against him. He did the little smack in the face.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, it wouldn't have taken much for them to just do that. And I think that would have been a little bit better. I had to ask, and I hate to just go back to it, but what was your thoughts on that Roman Reigns promo? Roman Reigns promo about not being the guy, or not being the bad guy,
the one where he rehashed pretty much the same promo again, or the first time after Mania.
Yeah.
I thought that was a huge leap in the right direction for him, because he is starting to become neutral, but almost like edging on the side of being a heel. Like, his personality is starting to become a little bit more heelish, but he is not necessarily, like he said, a bad guy where he's going to like cheat to win. We're not there yet storyline wise, but logically that's where it should progress to. But I thought it was a nice little way where he basically has gotten to the point where he just doesn't give a shit anymore. Like, he doesn't give a shit if you're a good guy, bad guy, whatever. Like, he'll just fight everybody.
Right.
Although, that original promo was very heelish, the way he was acting throughout all of it.
Yeah.
Especially how everyone was fighting back and forth because
And
they
he
all
was
wanted
just-
to be number one contender.
Yeah.
And he's just standing there with the
Just
belt just laughing.
at him. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that is like heel overlord type shit. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
it kind of makes me want them, and this is the idea I had when Del Rio first won, I think, the World Heavyweight title, because Del Rio's supposed to be super rich and powerful. They've got this whole Roman Empire thing going.
Yeah.
Just set him up in a giant box, maybe next to the ring, like if you maybe want to make a stage, or maybe have him up on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
where he's constantly just like, I mean, they've admitted that he was married. That's why I said, maybe this will work with Del Rio. Have like Rosa Mendez and the Bella Twins is kind of like just standing
chilling,
around, like feeding him grapes and stuff. And he's just like doing like the Julius Caesar thumbs up, thumbs down, like almost make it like this chaotic, like, because Del Rio's so powerful and now Roman's so powerful.
Yeah.
Just make it where it's almost like the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
He's just like, just do whatever you want to do as long as you like, entertain me or show me you're worthy to be in my empire.
I dig it. I dig that. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of that vest though.
Oh, I know. Man.
I think they should give him more gladiator inspired attire. Maybe have him wear like a kind of vest to the ring. Almost like, like a Roman gladiator with like the golden armor and all that stuff.
The plate chest or chest plate, whatever type of thing.
But I guess one of the reasons why he continues to wear that is the homie Samoan, to modify a Samuel L. Jackson term. And I think he's got a little bit of Baron Corbin tummy going on.
Yeah, exactly. Which was weird because, like, I mean, in FCW,
mm-hmm.
he was just in trunks, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was in trunks for most of his occurrence in the Shield.
Yeah.
I think he was pretty lean too in that.
Yeah.
And then they wanted him to get a little bigger. I think maybe while he was bulking, he couldn't, hold the abs while he tried to put on that mask, because he got really big.
Yeah, man. He looks like he's getting bigger and bigger too.
Yeah. I know in the first video game the Shield appears in, Roman is actually the smaller of the three guys, because they modeled them on exactly how their body types were at that point.
Yeah.
So Roman is shorter than them, and he's smaller than them in WWE 2K14. And Dean and Seth look like bodybuilders compared to him. So they definitely had to fix that in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah. That's they also, I don't know if it was an accident, like or forgetful, but they got rid of his contact lenses. He doesn't have those creepy zombie blue eyes.
Oh, he doesn't have. Okay,
he had his regular brown eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that they went with that.
Yeah, me too, man.
It's really weird to have this long-haired Samoan. I mean, yeah, he's Italian too, but do like a lot of Italian people have blue eyes?
It depends where they come from.
Okay.
But usually it's like.
But they never play up the fact that he's got an Italian
skin.
mother. It's always his.
It's always
dad is
Samoan.
one of the wild Samoans.
Exactly.
It's never like they never. It kind of depends on The Rock.
I was just gonna say it is kind of like The Rock. Whenever they feel
it's
like
February, he's a black guy.
Yeah, exactly. 11 months of the year, your family's Samoan, and then
exactly. Yeah. Oh, your dad's Rocky
your
Johnson,
dad.
whatever.
Yeah. But we.
Speaking of Samoans, I guess this will cut right into the Bullet Club arrival.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good segue. I like it.
Gallows and Anderson, they sent the Usos love from their cousin Tama Tonga.
Yeah, man.
I love that post. I think it was there's a Twitter account called Meltzer in the Future, and it goes, when Gallows and Anderson attacked the Usos, they said, quote, Tama sends his love.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Did you expect them to come out in that situation? I mean, we heard the rumors that they were gonna come out on Raw, but
I didn't expect them to show up in that capacity. I thought maybe they'd get some vignettes or videos, or maybe they would kind of show up in a backstage segment. I didn't think they were just gonna show up out of nowhere, because when they attacked, I'm like, who's that bald guy? Because I think it was Anderson's the first one in the ring. I'm like, who is that? I'm trying to rack my brain. I'm like, is that one of the guys from the Revival? I thought it was Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
And then I recognized the goatee. I'm like, oh, shit. It's Anderson and Gallows, so.
Yeah, that was pretty fun to see them. And before we concentrate, because this episode's basically going to talk about who Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson are. A lot of you already know who Luke Gallows are. What was your thoughts on the Bray Wyatt Roman Reigns main event situation?
Man, I don't know. It was really odd. It was very
It was
weird.
very odd. It was an odd matchup.
Shane was kind of like, well, this is kind of weird, but I also kind of like this. So you guys need to team up. This is a really good main event.
Yeah, man.
But of course, if they're trying to make Bray their top heel, they did not do a good job of doing that because Bray was.
It felt like they were trying to give him a face turn.
It seems like they're turning them face because they've been attacking the League of Nations and they saved Roman from the League of Nations. Have they explained why they're going after League of Nations?
Nope. Not
basically because we've got 3 guys, you got 3 guys, we need someone to feud with.
Bray Wyatt.
Barrett's not going to be hanging around trying to get revenge or anything. He's gone, right? Is he done?
I don't know if he's done yet. I thought June was.
Okay, I was going to say, are they just having him chill out until his contract's up?
Probably.
I could see them doing that,
Probably.
but.
Well, yeah, he did. I forgot he did. He got kicked out, so it was like, oh, whatever. I'm done. But Bray Wyatt ended up getting injured at a house show.
God damn it!
Looks like it was the same thing as Luke Harper too, isn't
was
he?
It really like a freakish knee thing?
Have you seen the video at all? So basically, they go in for a lockup, and it looks like he just jars his knee in the lockup, and you can see like he just starts kind of trying to hobble off of it, and he gets Roman in the corner, and then the ref goes in to do like the break up, and he's like, he's trying, but he knows he can't put any pressure on his leg, so he just like drops, and Roman's like at first like concerned, but then he realizes I can't play that role, and so he's just sitting there and he's like kind of looking at the crowd like, because he's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that you basically grew up with.
A guy you've known for a long time. You don't know how bad he's hurt.
Yeah.
I'm sure those guys definitely do concern, especially like the thing that happened with Neville and Jericho. And Jericho got really hot because he's got to be a bad guy, but also he's concerned for the guy because that's why he's pushing Charles Robinson. He's like, can't you see he's hurt? Yeah,
man. Oh, that was. So we'll see what happens with Bray. Hopefully it wasn't anything too bad. Hopefully it was one of those just weird situations where your knee pops and then just pops back, and it's like.
Hopefully, we'll see though. I mean, it's never a good sign for any sort of injury. Again, with so many people that were injured, and a lot of them are starting to come back from injuries. But also, it's not good for Bray, who's, as much as I hate to say it, is definitely shown a history of being injury prone. He's got hurt quite a bit. Yeah. He got hurt a couple times at NXT.
Wasn't that kind of what brought up the Bray Wyatt character? Because he was hurt, and so he was trying to work more on his promos?
I believe so. I can't quite remember, though, because it's been quite a while. But I know that's also why they kind of started putting more people with him to kind of cover up the fact he was hurt.
That he was hurt, yeah.
Because I think he got hurt almost immediately when he got to the main roster, and that's what kind of they had him protected by Harper and Rowan so much. Harper and Rowan, kind of running in. They did that Ring of Fire match against
with Kane.
Okay, so we were talking about Anderson and Gallows before Bray Wyatt exploded his knee.
Yeah.
So they just started the tag team tournament, number 1 contenders tag team tournament. It was Vaudevillains, Usos, Dudleys, Enzo and Cass.
The Outcasts.
Social Outcasts.
Golden Truth.
Yep, and Lucha Dragons.
Yeah.
Which they definitely telegraph Sin Cara is going to turn on Kalisto for sure. Because Kalisto spent the entire match laying on the ground on the outside. Or maybe they'll turn Kalisto. I don't know. They shouldn't turn him. Sin Cara, Umiko is better being a heel. So, I guess because of them attacking the Usos, maybe Anderson and Gallows will take their spot in the tournament.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I can't remember how they match up, though, with everyone. Were the Usos at the top of the bracket? They beat the Social Outcasts, right?
Yeah, they beat the Social Outcasts.
Okay, so they'll be at the top of the bracket.
Yeah,
so I could see them beating Enzo and Cass in the finals.
Yeah.
So you've got a powerful heel team that gets the titles, or gets the number 1 contendership, rather. And you've got Enzo and Cass, and makes them look good mixing up with Gallows and Anderson, but also, Gallows and Anderson got to win in that scenario. Yeah, it makes the tag team division more intriguing, and then it makes their appearance makes the title picture with AJ and Roman Reigns more interesting too. But some of our listeners might not know who Carl Anderson, the Machine Gun.
Right.
I would
yeah.
do the noise, but I can't. It's physically impossible. That probably is going to sound like garbage when people listen to it. And Doc Gallows, he's going by his old WWE name again. Luke Gallows, who is Festus and Jesse and Festus.
Yep.
They were the main tag team of Bullet Club. Yeah, you just want to kind of pull up some info about them?
We'll just get into it with those two. I know a lot of people probably know Luke Gallows more than they do Karl Anderson, just because of his already previous stint in WWE. One thing that I was really interested about, because we had constantly heard that they were being signed, was whether they were going to go up to the main roster right away or
NXT.
stay in NXT. Because for a while there, they said no matter what, you're going in NXT first to everyone, and which kind of surprised me. With Samoa Joe, they're like, well, everyone no matter what's going to go into NXT, and then you're going to make your way up. And then they kind of just struck that. They were like, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's very interesting because you've seen AJ skip past NXT. You saw Gallows and Anderson skip past. Nakamura went, probably to kind of get himself acclimated with things. And
yeah,
I think it all kind of depends on your style. Really, is why you'd go. When FCW was around, a lot of guys went through there because it would help them adjust to the WWE style. As much as of a trope as it is to say WWE style, LOL, main event style, it really is a thing. They wrestle a lot differently.
Yeah.
Even Chris Jericho was saying from WCW to WWF, then the heels have to bump differently. They have to move differently. That's why Triple H used to take shots at them. There was a little video where DX is outside and there's a homeless guy there. And Triple H goes, "Oh, you remind me of Jericho. He doesn't work either, or he doesn't know how to work either, or something like that." I guess Triple H really didn't care for Jericho when he first showed up.
I heard Jericho got heat with the bumps. DDP got heat with the bumps before too, and a lot of those WCW guys.
A lot of them was like Southern style bumpers,
Yeah, yep. Which is really, it's so weird to think about that, like how it just different territories evolving into Southern style.
Yeah, because there's some wrestlers, they'll take, is it called the Alabama bump? When they get hit, they'll jump really high in the air.
Yeah.
I think Bobby Eaton used to do that a lot.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which reminds me of what Rusev taking the stunner.
Oh, man. That was God tier. He almost flew out of the ring.
He pulled the Santino. Remember when Santino did it?
He did the salute. Oh, man. But, I guess Karl and Gallows and AJ have a little bit more experience working a more North American-based style, where maybe that's why they were able to skip by. I know when Daniel Bryan was first signed, they wanted him to skip past FCW, but he requested to have a match or two down there against Low Key.
Yep.
Del Rio even had to go through developmental for a little bit. Another guy that skipped past developmental ended up being disastrous for him was the original Sin Cara, or Mystico. Mysticis now, I believe he's called. So I guess depending on your style, it's very important to go through developmental, but I digress. If you want to start with Gallows first or Anderson?
Let's go Anderson, because he's the one that's I'm sure a
people
lot of people are like, who is this guy?
Well, he is a distant cousin of Charlotte because he is part of the Anderson family.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I guess according to the Anderson family tree on Wikipedia, he is in the family. I don't know if he and Ole get along so well at family reunions.
Yeah, right.
But Gun Club, it's the shits.
But yeah, he started out with the NWA, which is kind of weird.
Was he Too Bad, Chad Allegra?
Yes, man.
That's right.
Yeah, and that is just crazy to hear. And then the NWA ends up having an agreement with New Japan, a little swap of wrestlers, and he ends up going over to New Japan and does some work there. That's really
where he picked up a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw him, I knew he was a PWG guy. And I didn't really care for him because I felt like he was super generic.
Yeah.
And I think he did a couple spots in ROH. And when he went to New Japan is really when he started picking up the pace. Like, he got really, really, really over with people. Like, the fans really started noticing his work. You could really start to see his personality because he is the master of witty banter, as I like to say. Like, he talks cash shit.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's great. When he was coming to the ring at one of the New Japan shows, just to give you a taste of his personality, you know, he does the whole dramatic machine gun thing, and then he looks in the camera and he goes, second best entrance in wrestling behind Gangrel.
Yeah, and that's when I got to notice him, was through New Japan, and I was like, who is this guy, man? How come, like, he's never been known to me, thinking like, wow, this guy's really talented. And I'm really surprised that WWE didn't touch him beforehand or anything, because like I knew, you know, Davey Boy Smith's son's there, and some of the others were there, and I'm like, okay, they've made some, either it was dark matches or, you know, Velocity or whatever, people,
Or, you know,
show
like
up.
the Killer Elite Squad, a team that Karl Anderson has feuded with several times over, you know, his two partners. You might know him, A-Train, Matt Bloom, Tensai, whatever you want to call him, Giant Bernard in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
He's mixed it up with them quite a bit. So it's always really weird that he never got signed until now. He was a guy over the last 5 years. People are like, why is he not in WWE?
Yeah,
Like, no one can really figure it out.
Yeah, and it's just he made his way through New Japan too. He's been in some serious matches. He's beaten Nakamura before.
He's G1 Climax runner-up against Okada. I think it's the year
yep.
Okada won. His tag team with A-Train, Albert, Matt Bloom, whatever you want to call him. Was one of the bigger draws in Japan this decade as a tag team called Bad Intentions. They were very popular with the crowd. You know, they got several pushes as a team. And in singles, I think Giant Bernard won the New Japan Cup at one point while they were teaming up. And, of course, Karl Anderson, runner-up in the G1 Climax in, like, 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
And then when Bernard left, Anderson started really getting over as a babyface, and there's a lot of fans online pushing for him to become the first, or not the first, but the first gaijin in a long time. Gaijin in Japan means outsider, to win the IWGP Heavyweight title. But then Finn Balor, Fergal Devitt, Prince Devitt at the time, had just turned on his tag partner Taiguchi, and that's how you got the start of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It was really shocking because people were like, how is Karl Anderson, who is arguably the number 2 face in New Japan, going to play second fiddle to a junior heavyweight? But they made it work, and it was it's a very popular stable. I don't know if it's as popular as it was when Karl was in it. Because who's even in it now? Just the Bucks, Kenny Omega, and his Tama Tonga and his brother. Right?
I was just gonna say, really, like Bad Luck Fale and Tama Tonga are really kind of it. And the Bucks and Omega just kind of went to the Elite. Like,
yeah, it seems like
like they're still in it, but it's just there's 2 tiers of it now.
It seems like the Tongan guys and then the North American guys, they're still in the same stable, but it seems like they keep themselves separate. Is Cody Hall still running around with them? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure he is.
Okay, but like I said, we keep getting off track because there's so much other stuff that if you want to touch on.
Well, that's the whole thing, because Bullet Club is, and it's just another thing we could do basically a whole episode on. It's kind of crazy because everyone sees Fergal and Karl Anderson kind of as the leaders of it, even though, you know, Fergal creates it. They come out, and was it Tanahashi? He just lost to Tanahashi, I think it was. Karl Anderson did, and then they just beat the shit out of Tanahashi, and that's when he joined. Yeah,
because he's like, "Hey, stop!" And he turns and starts stomping him.
Yeah. I mean, that's there's tons of stuff going on there, but yeah, here's a guy who really made his way. Like, you just don't see this nowadays. Makes his way and makes just huge headlines in Japan before anything WWE ever touched him. I mean, it really kind of reminds me of like, kind of like Vader and Steve Williams and Stan Hansen in a sense.
Yeah, it's very much in that vein. I compared it kind of to, I know a lot of people got sick of it quick. You know how some internet wrestling fans can be like, oh, this is so corny. There's always so many run-ins. New Japan's not about run-ins. It's all this North American influence and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of looked at him like, I think this is the Japanese bookers and promoters almost parodying how ridiculous North American wrestling is.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's way over the top. But then, of course, it's almost kind of like that somewhat parody of North American wrestling is what really brought New Japan to the forefront and brought a lot of people in.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
when
yeah.
you get, Luke Gallows showing up. He becomes Karl Anderson's new tag partner. So let's go over Luke Gallows and how he equates into this.
Yeah, man. I have to say too, obviously the thing that I know brought a lot of people over is the Young Bucks go home.
Young Bucks go home.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say what brought Luke Gallows to the forefront of a lot of people's attention was the Sex Ferguson vids.
No, I don't know about that.
Oh my God, you've never seen the Sex Ferguson vids?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, the good brother, man, Sex Ferguson. He loves to drink Bud Light Lime. He loves to give all the young guys advice. We're gonna send him to Puerto Rico for a little bit. We'll send him up to Canada, have Stu stretch him.
yeah, I've seen him do that character. Yeah.
Because I think it's just him making fun of how ridiculous old wrestlers are.
yeah, man. And Gallows, that's a guy too. Like I had no clue about the fact I knew Gallows kind of as Festus because this is at a time that I didn't watch it. I just would, when you're flipping through channels
Even
and you
before
see him.
that, unfortunately, Fake Kane.
Oh, was he Fake Kane?
He's Fake Kane.
Oh,
That's
wow,
right.
I didn't know that. And then I knew him from Aces and Eights.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Short-lived run in TNA.
Yep.
The thing about Luke Gallows is his career arc is really crazy. He started off, I think, as like the Freakin' Deacon was a Deep South.
With Mason Dixon Wrestling, he started off, and World Star Wrestling Federation. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm going through everything that it says. This is his early career. Summit Wrestling Association of Southern Pennsylvania, National Wrestling League, and the Eastern Wrestling Alliance, wrestling as Doran Devil, and for West Virginia's Championship Pro Wrestling as the masked wrestler Dargon.
The thing that screwed me up a lot about
and then Deep South ends up
when he finally got called up as Festus, who is this character basically is very similar to was it Lenny from Mice and Men, Lenny and George?
Yeah.
If the bell rung, he would go insane, and you couldn't control him. He was super strong. He could even contend with the Undertaker. They actually had a really fun match. It's like 5-6 minutes long, but it's really good. I think he gets choked out at the end. You should be able to find that on Daily Motion. And if you can't find it, hit me up because I'm the master of finding things online. But he had a good match with Kozlov, who was getting a big push at the time. So it's like early 2010s, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then for whatever reason, Jesse and Festus kind of lost some steam, and he went away. Then he came back and lost a bunch of weight, and then he joined up with CM Punk as part of the Straight Edge Society as kind of his bodyguard. And I guess the premise was that when he was Festus, the reason why he acted like that is because he was all doped up on pills and drugs. So he got clean, lost the weight, and that's how he became kind of the beta version of who he is now. Obviously, he's a lot more charismatic than he was then. But another thing that screws me up about Luke Gallows, too, is that when he was Festus, he looked like he was an old man, but he was like the same age as me.
Yeah, man.
Like, how old is he? Like 32?
I think he's older than that. 30. Oh, no, he is 32. Okay, yeah. Carl Anderson's 36.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off. Yeah, that's the fact when I saw him as Festus, and he loses all the weight, and he shaves his head and stuff. It was Benjamin Button case.
Yeah, he's going in reverse as he gets older, yeah. And I can't remember what happened to him, but they didn't do anything with him once he broke away from the Straight Edge Society, which was a really entertaining group with CM Punk, Serena Deeb, Joey, Matthews, Mercury, whatever you want to call him. But they kind of got their legs cut out from under them, like all good things in pro wrestling.
Yep.
And here we are now, or not now, but I should say here we are in roughly 2011.
Yeah,
when he leaves.
About that time, because it's at the tail end where he gets his walking papers.
Yep, and then he joins TNA pretty soon after, and he shows up in a mask at first as Aces and Eights. They call him Armbreaker, and then he becomes Doc.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Doc stood for.
Oh man.
Director of Chaos.
Yes. Holy crap, dude! I was reading it right when you said it.
I mean,
I can't believe you remember that. That's awesome.
It's terrifying, all the random stuff I can remember about pro wrestling. If I could apply that energy to learn like a science or become a doctor, I would be...
You'd be a millionaire right now.
Absolutely.
It's amazing what the brain does.
Yeah, my brain is like, hey, you know that random information in 2011 TNA? It's just going to download that. But basic math equations? No, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, and Aces and Eights depends on who you're talking with. A lot of people, they either loved it or they hated it.
It started off really well, and then,
I
of
thought
course,
so.
like most things in TNA, like, I like this. It just gets completely botched.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was great way for Bully Ray to really finally get the title. But again, a lot of the guys in Aces and Eights end up splitting
They ended up
when, they start kind of losing momentum. They start get let go.
Let go,
or
yeah, man.
They get put on the sidelines. Mike Knox became a ringleader of a circus.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
Or Nux,
Nux,
as they call him.
Nux
so
now.
ridiculous.
And then, they made it sound like he got let go, and they let go Doc and Devon. Devon got fired. I think he was one of those feast or fired ones.
Devon, the 87,000-time television champion.
Yeah, exactly. The Briscoe and Bischoff.
The Briscoe.
The Briscoe.
The Briscoe with the awful leg tattoos.
Yes, yeah. Who just had only two faces, puzzled and sad.
He was a body guy for sure, though.
Oh, yeah, man.
But I was looking at him like, man, how did WWE not sign that guy? And then I realized, he was signed in developmental, and he got let go because he's not good.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell, man. And, yeah, he ends up getting let go and goes over to New Japan, where he just becomes even better. And, man, I had no clue that Luke Gallows could talk. It was those segments, I'd watch him on the indie
talking
scene,
shop,
talking with Colt Cabana and stuff. Like Colt always being the one kind of be like, "All right, do it," And so he'd bust out his impressions, and it was
or
so
the
funny.
song that he sings when people were giving AJ Styles shit for hurting people at the Styles Clash. He's AJ Styles, and he'll break your neck because you're an indie mark.
Yeah, and then after a really good run, teaming up with Karl Anderson, they end up making their way back in the
How
WWE.
many times did they win the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles?
Jeez,
4?
Man. 3 times. Three times.
They had a couple
IWGP
long reigns, though, I believe.
Yeah,
if a lot of the titles in New Japan, I kind of noticed. I don't want to say get hot shot it, but they change hands. I feel like very frequently.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it too is because they use a touring system.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's why it seems like they lose the titles more often. You know what it is in Japan too? They kind of judge reigns based on the number of defenses rather than the days held.
Yeah, you're totally right about that.
That's why Kobashi's in Pro Wrestling Noah. I think it's his second title run. It was just like so historic because he held the title for almost 2 years and he had an absurd number of defenses. It was like 20-something defenses or something like that. So
yeah, that's pretty crazy, man.
As there's a little cameo by old JD in the room.
Oh yeah. Hey, John Daniels making his appearance.
John Daniels, that's right. No relation to his brother Jackie.
When you know him as long as I have, you call him John.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jackie and John. That'd be really weird to have brothers named Jackie and John because it's pretty much the same.
Yeah,
name.
the same name, right?
Yeah. Does anyone ever call you Jack?
No. My grandfather was he was a John, but Jack his whole life.
Huh.
And that's what I changed my name to on Facebook when I was like looking for jobs. Like after I graduated from law school, I changed it to Jack Beer so that no one would search me on Facebook.
I think I remember that in between me getting drunk and arguing with you on Facebook about random MMA topics.
That's right.
my ill-fated Ryan Bader is better than John Jones conversation. Boy, oh boy, 20-year-old Damon's a really dumb kid. Or however old I was, 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, so we'll see where they're going at. They beat up the Usos. They were at a house show, and they beat up a random tag team. I'm not too sure who it was they actually beat up, but then they came on to say why they were there. but I don't think anything else happened of it. Unfortunately, the only video that I saw was them beating the people up, and then as soon as they started talking, the guy cut his camera, and I'm like, why would you do that?
That makes no sense, dude. It makes me feel like it's almost like WWE leaked footage, like they did it on purpose.
Yeah, like they did it on purpose, exactly.
Like the classic fan cam footage of the Madison Square Garden thing.
Yeah.
But I guess that is the clip they use is real footage. They bought that from that guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I wonder how much he sold that for.
Yeah. I think if I recall, I think the guy kind of was like, he got a lot of shirts and stuff.
Man, I would have kept that footage and sold it to someone else.
Well, yeah, it's funny because, they played a prank on the guy like 10 years later, just recently.
WWE did?
Yeah, like he's filming and stuff, and he's doing a segment and talking. They're like, hey, yeah, the statute of limitations never ran on that, and we're going to bust you for copyright infringement. So the cops come in, and they handcuff him. He's like, ha, ha, ha. And then the cops are like, no, for real. And they handcuff the poor bastard, and then take him away. And he's like, tell my wife, to his buddy. And they're like, no, just kidding. He's like, I figured as much. But, yeah, no, I think he was basically just saying he kind of got some good shirts and whatnot for it.
I wonder if he got actual good shirts. Like, did he get the long missing Sin Cara dick shirt?
Yes. Yeah. No,
that shirt is classic.
They gave him a bunch of Y2AJ shirts.
Joke's on you. But yeah, dude, I'll be like, listen, if you give me like, how much would you try to sell that tape for if you had it? 50 G's? I would try to name my price, right?
I mean,
not anything over 6 figures for sure. Like, do you think you could get in the neighborhood of 50 G's or something like that?
I think honestly, they wouldn't do that much.
I'm sure there's some other money mark out there that would pay for it. Yeah. I mean, for that, I just would like, hey, I have this tape. How much do you want for it? And just kind of shop it around and see who wants it.
Yeah. I would probably end up...
Even though, like you were saying, WWE could probably like, oh, no, you can't, like, we'll just sue you. Like, that's you recorded our show.
That's exactly it. That's what I would be afraid of is Madison Square Garden and WWE coming after me and being like, oh, hey. But then again, I would probably, in my talks with them, I think if I were to give it to them, I would probably be like, you got to donate a large chunk of money to something. So that way it's like, I don't look like such a bad guy. Mm-hmm. You guys look good. It works out in the end.
Yeah, I'd be like, give me like $10,000 and then donate some money to charity or something like that.
Yeah. Match your donation to me with donation to some charity.
Just to be a good guy, I just name an amount of money to cover like a student loan or something. Like, give me like $6,000.
Please help me with one of my student loans.
Yeah, give me $6,000 and then donate some money to charity. Mm-hmm. Donate some money and T-shirts to kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes you look like a good guy too.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, I would probably just do that anyway. Help out the little ones.
Oh yeah.
John Cena is gonna make 75 Make-A-Wish appearances today, right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I demand it.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want more John Cena Make-A-Wish.
Because the man is a machine.
Anything else? What do you think about Doc and Luke? What are they calling him in WWE now? Did they say Luke Gallows?
They just call him. They call him Luke Gallows. I figured they were gonna go with Luke Gallows because that was already his name when he left.
Yeah.
Karl Anderson's Karl Anderson. I don't know what they're gonna call the stable. I've heard rumblings of the stable being called Bulletproof. I don't know who they're gonna put him with. Really? I'm curious to see if Karl will be able to use the gun stun.
Did you notice them doing the gun? They did it really quickly. When after they beat the crap out of
it was almost like a toasting thing. They put the guns together like that, yeah.
And that was it. While the crowd chanted Bullet Club.
While Karl, again, the master of banter. It's a nice place you got here. I'm curious to see how they tease who their other guys are going to be. If they're going to do almost an NWO type thing. Like, is this new generation's NWO?
Right, yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of what it reminded me. Like when the Outsiders showed up at WCW, like
The thing that killed it though is the announcers kind of almost like putting them over
oh yeah,
and like, oh, that's these guys. They did this, this, and this. They should have
Yeah.
been like, what the hell are they doing there? And just
Yeah,
not
I
really
know.
mention who they were.
right.
So it piques interest in the crowd. Maybe people don't know. They're like, who the fuck were those guys?
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
exactly. Because I mean, you do have those fans still, even
Mm.
with the internet being the way it is. There
And
are
there's
fans
people
who are
listening to the
literally,
show who might not be
yeah, who
familiar
are
with
like,
them.
who the hell is Carl Anderson? Okay, I know who Luke Gallows is,
Mhm.
but who's Carl Anderson? And yeah, like you said, even though it's every once in a while they let JBL loose and he is able to spot off his like
I didn't
ridiculous amount of information on people.
Did you like what he said? My sources told me they'd be here, Mogul.
I
Really?
didn't-
You're just like you didn't tease that at all.
No,
like if
yeah,
you're a
exactly.
broadcast journalist and you have any sort of scoop like that, you're like, yo, listen,
You
like
gotta
Carl
watch
Anderson
tonight.
and Luke Gallows might show up at any point tonight.
Yeah.
Like my sources have been telling me they're in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also kind of what helped spark the Monday Night Wars. Both WCW, and I feel like WCW was kind of more on the lines of, doing those teases more than WWF at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they would. You'd be sitting there, and then Tony Schiavone would be in your ear being like, there's been rumors that the Ultimate Warrior is here in the building, and you're like, no way. And some nights they would just tease the shit out of it, and you'd be like,
Or
Sons
some
of
nights Eric
bitches.
Bischoff would go, oh, by the way, the higher power is Vince McMahon.
oh,
Or if you want to change channels, don't bother. Mick
Mick Foley
is the
wins. Is their champion. Mick
that'll
Foley.
that'll put butts in the seats.
Yeah, thanks, Lino. He mentioned that with the Kevin Owens. The WWE just did a photo shoot with new wrestlers having the old belts,
Mhm.
and I loved it. I loved the Winged Eagle belt.
Mm.
Do you like that belt?
I do like that belt. There's just something about it. Especially they did that same shoot a couple years back. So like about 4 years ago, I want to say.
Really?
They did it with Bryan, Del Rio,
Oh wow, I didn't know
Sandow.
that.
Like it did, I think Sandow might have had the briefcase at this time. I mean, it looked natural. It looked right.
It does.
Especially Sandow when he had it. It looked like a champion from like the 70s or 80s. It looked right.
Yeah.
It looked perfect.
Yeah,
And then,
there's just something about that belt. It just looks so good on, like,
yeah,
seriously.
Roman instantly looked cooler when he was holding it.
Oh, he did.
And there was something it looked Sasha and Becky looked weird holding the women's title.
Yeah,
It just looked weird. I think I kind of like the newer title more.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the European title and Tyler Breeze and Rusev looked perfect.
I
don't know if
man.
it was Tyler Breeze's
yeah.
outfit, but the way he
Yeah.
posed, I'm like, that's perfect.
It
Like
is, dude.
he should have a belt like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't know. I like that they brought the Intercontinental title back, the old look. I've always loved that look, and the Winged Eagle I love it. And the belt now, just it does remind me of kind of like UFC, where it's just a big bland belt, and it lets you know that, hey, this is our world champion.
I'm surprised they haven't done that with all the other belts.
Yeah.
The tag titles are woefully in need of a redesign.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind if
Yes,
they did that. I don't know what color they would do or what they would make it look like, but they need to redesign those because it looks like the Trojan condom penny belts.
Yes.
They're so
Oh, yeah.
awful. They're so bad.
Yeah, I'm not.
It looked way
not a fan.
cooler. It looked like Doc Williams and Gordy in early 90s WCW when they had the NWA and the WCW tag titles.
Oh, yeah.
And the
yeah.
Unified Champions had both sets of belts.
Yeah.
And you could mix up the combinations of who was holding which belt. And then Bret Hart's like, all right, Hart Dynasty, here's these new titles. I'm like, oh, this is going to be sick. These belts are going to be dope. And I'm like, is that a joke? Why do they look like pennies?
Yeah, giant pennies. I wasn't not a fan of those. It's long overdue for that belt to get a redesign.
Yeah, they've had those belts a long time. The Hart Dynasty won those belts just after WrestleMania 26.
Oh, wow.
So they've had those belts for about 6 years now.
6 years, yeah. 6 years. Wow. Yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. I mean, yeah, what do you do? Is it going to be similar? Like, I don't know. I think at the
faceplate on the new belt. I like the idea of everyone having their personalized side, whatever you want to call it, side brackets.
Does Charlotte have one on her belt?
Yeah, yep, she has.
What
hers
does it say?
too.
Does it say like Flair on it or something?
Yeah, I think one side it might be like, let's do it with Flair. I'm trying to think because they did have the video. I like that they do the video too after they win.
Mhm.
They immediately are like, oh, even though it kind of breaks kayfabe because they're like, hey, we just had these stamped, like really right in the building. They're really hot still. They haven't had time to cool off. Let's put them in the belt.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of like with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. That's
or
true.
even
yeah.
in UFC, if there's a title fight, if you win the title, they'll put the black and gold T-shirt on you when they put the belt on
I
you.
never really even thought about that.
And it's like, so you got to get like, you make sure your T-shirt is Luke Rockhold size instead of Chris Weidman size, or like, do they just take Chris Weidman's shirt and throw it on Luke Rockhold?
Like
his sweaty body, like this is gross.
Yeah, no. So they take the losers' plates and they send them down to some poor third world country for kids to try to wear.
So there's some poor like 12-year-old kid just wearing like
just
Becky Lynch like plates of the gold
wristlets
chain
or something. They melt them down into wristlets.
They've got the gold Sasha Banks like legit boss. That would be great. I hope that's a thing.
I dig it. I like this. That's a parody video we should do.
That we should do that. But anything else, man?
No, I think that's it. I think we're done.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
All right. Well, you know where to find us on social media. If you don't, just go to the Google machine, type in Pod Bros, X-Zone Wrestling Fan, whichever you want to type in. Like if you don't know where to find us by now, you've been living under a rock for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, TAWF fan of the week. I just want to give shout outs to Aaron Dawson because he likes my stuff and it makes me feel good about myself.
Dawson back at it again with the likes.
So I'll like get these notifications. I'm thinking, oh man, I laughed at that. Some, maybe one or other will like it. Sometimes no one likes it, but then he always comes out of nowhere and makes me feel good about myself.
Dawson's the man. He gives you the like out of nowhere.
Yep.
It makes me feel good because, if I stop paying attention to Raw, I go and look at my Facebook on my laptop, and it's like 27 likes. Dawson just going through the threads, just like, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, yes, someone appreciated that joke. That joke didn't go over someone's head. So.
Yep. So he's TAWF fan of the week.
Shout-outs to Dawson. Shout-outs to him also. I let him use my WWE network credentials, and he watched the Zayn Nakamura match, and he could not get enough of it. He loved it. So that's good for him because he doesn't get a chance to watch as much wrestling as he'd like to. So shout-outs to him.
Yeah, man. And big shout-outs to Tommy Alexander for helping us out last week. That was... I can't thank him enough. I got a bottle of Bushmills for him.
Tom Alexander, a.k.a. Red Savage. I still owe you some more PBRs, bud. So come find me at some point.
All right, guys. Lino's not here, so... Damon?
Tuck your chin?
Brother? Did you like listening to the intro and outro of The Accidental Wrestling Fan? Well, that was by The Second Guess, and you can find them at facebook.com/The Second Guess Rocks, or check them out on Spotify searching The Second Guess.